All right, today we are pulling back the curtain on some of the biggest projects you can imagine. We're diving into the world of construction management, and trust me, it is way more fascinating than you probably think.
So, have you ever just stopped and stared up at a massive skyscraper and thought, how on earth did they do that? I mean, from the ground, it just looks like organized chaos, right? But behind every single swing of a crane, every steel beam that goes into place, there's this invisible blueprint, a master plan that keeps the whole thing from, falling apart. Well, that master plan, it's called construction management. And it's the absolute key discipline that takes a project from like a sketch on a napkin all the way to a towering reality. You can almost think of it as the project's central nervous system, yeah? It's directing every single brick, every beam, and every bulldozer with incredible purpose. Okay, but before a single shovel hits the dirt, every project has to start with one really powerful question. Why? Why are we even building this? And that right there is the vision. It's the foundational why behind everything. So yeah, it all kicks off with the vision. And look, this isn't just about slapping up a building. It's about the long-term impact it's going to have. Is this a bridge that's going to slash commute times and actually connect communities? Is it a hospital that's going to save lives for decades to come? The vision is kind of like the project's North Star, right? It defines the legacy that you're trying to create. Okay, so if the vision is the destination, then the mission, well, that's your promise for how you're going to get there. It lays out the daily commitments, things like an absolutely non-negotiable standard for safety or a real dedication to using only the best materials. The mission basically turns that big picture why into a very practical day-to-day how. And this is where it all really clicks into place. You take the vision, the mission, and you add specific goals. That's VMG. Together, they create this really powerful framework. What it does is it makes sure that a high-level idea, like, say, sustainability, actually translates into real-world actions, like sourcing recycled steel. It's literally how ideas become results. But of course, a great plan is totally useless without the people to actually make it happen. And a huge construction project, man, it has a cast of characters that's just as complex as any big movie production. So let's meet the team. Okay, so picture it like a movie set. The owner, or the client, that's your studio executive, the one with the vision and, the money. The project manager is the director, making sure every single piece of the puzzle comes together perfectly. Then you've got the architect, who's like the screenwriter, drafting the entire blueprint. The engineers, they're the special effects team, making sure all the physics actually work so the building stands up. And finally, the contractors and their crews. They're the cast, the actors on the ground, bringing that whole script to life. But wait a minute. With all those different experts running around, how do you stop the whole thing from turning into a complete mess? Well, you do it with a really clear organizational structure. This functional model you're seeing here, for example, groups people by their specialty. So all the engineers are in one group, all the procurement folks are in another. It just gets rid of the confusion and makes sure that when a problem pops up, everybody knows exactly who to go to for the answer. All right, so the vision is set, the team is in place. Now it's time to actually execute the game plan. And you know what's interesting? Every single construction project, I don't care if it's a small house or a gigantic stadium, follows the exact same basic roadmap. It's a journey through 4 very distinct stages. These 4 phases, you got pre-construction, procurement, construction, and closeout. They are the absolute backbone of the whole thing. Each one builds directly on the one before it. And let me tell you, trying to skip a step or cut a corner here, it's a terrible idea. It creates a massive domino effect of problems later on. So first up, pre-construction. Honestly, you could make a strong case that this is the most critical stage of all. This is where all the heavy thinking happens. Is this project even possible? What's the best way to design it? And the big one, what's this really going to cost? Getting this stuff right at the beginning saves you from so many expensive headaches down the road. Next up is procurement. Okay, the plan is locked and loaded. Now it's time to assemble the army. This is where you strategically pick the absolute best contractors for the job. You negotiate rock-solid contracts, and you get all your supply chains lined up for every single thing you're going to need, from massive steel beams right down to the tiny circuit breakers. And now for the exciting part. This is the moment that vision starts to become visible. The construction stage. The blueprints literally leap off the page. The site gets prepped, foundations are poured, and the structure starts to climb into the sky. And all those complex systems, think of them as the building's veins and arteries, like plumbing and electrical. They all get carefully installed.
This is what turns an empty patch of dirt into a real functional space.
And finally, the project hits the closeout phase. We're in the home stretch now, but man, the details are everything. This part is all about meticulous final inspections and fixing any tiny little issues that pop up. That's what they call the punch list. And then you get to the best moment of the entire project, handing the keys over to the owner, knowing you nailed it.
But what's the glue that holds this whole complicated dance together? I mean, what makes sure everyone actually does what they said they would, on time and on budget? Well, that's where the official rulebook comes in, the contract. And those rules get set by the kind of contract you use. The type you pick really depends on the project itself. For example, a lump sum contract, which is just one fixed price for the whole job, is perfect when you know exactly what needs to be done. No surprises. But for a really complex project where things might change, a cost-plus contract gives you a lot more flexibility. Picking the right contract is just so important for managing risk and making sure everyone is on the same page when it comes to the money. So there you have it. That's the whole journey. We've seen how a simple idea gets transformed through super detailed planning, a whole lot of teamwork, and a really structured process. And it's all held together by clear rules. That's the path, from just a blueprint to a real, physical, lasting legacy. Really, construction management is like the invisible architecture that builds our entire world. So I'll leave you with this. The next time you see a crane on the skyline, I bet you won't just see steel and concrete anymore. You'll see that master plan in action. You'll see the vision, the team, and the incredible process that turns ambition into the world we all live in.